Johnny Tillotson's name might not be the first that pops into people's minds when they recall the biggest music legends, yet his voice once soared across the airwaves and captured hearts. Before he earned any major acclaim, there were whispers that this boy from Jacksonville, Florida had a spark of destiny about him. It all began on his father's country radio station, where young Johnny sometimes got on the mic. The novelty of a child singer, combined with the sincerity in his voice, made local listeners perk up. Born on April 20th, 1938, he grew up surrounded by records and microphones. Though he adored country tunes, he felt electrified after seeing Elvis Presley perform in Jacksonville in 1955. That show opened his eyes to a new blend of styles. By his teenage years, he landed spots on local TV, impressing producers with a natural stage presence. He also pursued higher education at the University of Florida, but a national talent contest sponsored by Pet Milk took him to Nashville. Though he didn't win, he caught the attention of Archie Bleyer at Cadence Records, leading to a 3-year deal in 1958. His early singles, Well, I'm Your Man and Dreamy Eyes, grazed the lower charts, but Poetry in Motion in 1960 became his breakthrough. It shot to number 2 in the U.S., driven by a buoyant beat and his clear vocals. Media outlets took notice and fans flocked to him, yet he resisted being pigeonholed as just another teen idol. In 1962, he showcased his country roots with It Keeps Right on a Hurtin', which reached number 3 on the pop charts and earned a Grammy nomination in the country category. Even while serving a 6-month National Guard stint, he rushed back on weekends to record. The album of the same name made the top 10, solidifying his crossover appeal. Soon, the British invasion shook the American music scene, making it difficult for many stateside singers to keep pace. Johnny left Cadence, which was winding down, and moved to MGM Records. There, he found fresh success with Talk Back Trembling Lips, a country-tinged track that hit number 7. But as the 1960s progressed, whispers arose that disagreements with executives hampered his momentum. Still, he pressed forward, occasionally adding Mersey beat elements to appeal to changing tastes. He hopped between labels, Amos, Buddha, Columbia, United Artists, searching for a supportive environment. Though chart toppers became elusive, he gained a writer's triumph when Ernest Tubb and Loretta Lynn took his Who's Gonna Take the Garbage Out into the country top 20. By the early 1970s, he appeared regularly on nostalgia tours, capitalizing on the affection people still held for his classics. He managed a minor country chart entry in 1984 with Layback. Always gracious, he greeted fans warmly, never boasting about earlier triumphs. Observers noted that staying afloat required flexibility, since the 1960s favored guitar-driven bands while the 1970s saw other trends emerge. Some fans claim he might have soared higher had he embraced a louder rock approach, but many loved the melodic core he retained. Abroad, especially in the United Kingdom, audiences welcomed him as the singer behind a beloved chart topper. People lined up after concerts for autographs, drawn by his unassuming personality and crisp voice. Rumors of friction with executives lingered, yet he declined to air major grievances publicly. Instead, he let the music speak, placing emphasis on carefully crafted lyrics. It Keeps Right on a Hurtin' remained a staple of his shows, showcasing emotional resonance that outlasted passing fads. In the late 1960s, promoters often focused on the new wave of psychedelic bands. Accusations surfaced that managers tried to push him into a more overt rock persona, but he never fully embraced it. He experimented with modern touches without abandoning his melodic roots. Critics praised his earnest approach, arguing that some of his best recordings rivaled bigger names, even if they lacked the flashy hooks dominating radio. While flashier acts rose and fell, he played smaller venues and clubs, grateful for any audience that appreciated sincere pop country fusion. His private life stayed mostly quiet. Friends said he valued the joy of performing above commercial drama. During the 1970s and 1980s, when disco and synthpop entered the scene, he performed at oldies events, bridging generational gaps. Some younger fans discovered him while exploring earlier eras of pop music, enchanted by his gentle storytelling style. He rarely discussed frustrations, though insiders believed he sometimes felt overshadowed by unstoppable cultural forces. The 1980s offered a small boost with Layback on the country charts, a nod to his enduring capacity to connect with listeners seeking warm, heartfelt tunes. Radio stations often paired that track with his older hits, reminding audiences of the range he displayed across his career. By the 1990s, nostalgia tours flourished, and he joined lineups with other early rock and pop veterans. He commented on how technology changed the industry, from distribution to promotion, yet seemed genuinely delighted that new fans could encounter his music online. Despite modest success late in his career, some stories suggested he felt overlooked by major retrospectives. Award shows and documentaries often highlighted more prominent icons, leaving behind quieter contributors like Johnny. Nevertheless, he rarely spoke out. A friend recalled him shrugging off such concerns, stating that the music, not the spotlight, truly mattered. Fans admired this humility, saying it reminded them of a bygone era when performers interacted more directly with the public. Whenever a promoter requested his presence at a festival, he willingly obliged. Audiences enjoyed hearing "Poetry in Motion" and "Talk Back Trembling Lips" live, transported back to simpler times. Meanwhile, he also shared bills with rockabilly acts, proving that he could adapt to varied contexts without losing that signature warmth. Radio stations, too, invited him to talk about the early days at Cadence, the jump to MGM, and how chart success felt in a constantly shifting environment. Now and then, rumors claimed he had nearly retired or had an unreleased album. He gently dismissed these tales, preferring to discuss songs he'd actually released. As he aged, he performed less frequently but still popped up at themed events or smaller tours, acknowledging the fans who stuck with him. While he scaled back the length of shows, his voice retained a reassuring familiarity, a hallmark that endeared him to listeners young and old. Eventually, the news arrived that he had passed away. Fans who recalled the thrill of hearing "Poetry in Motion" on transistor radios felt a pang of nostalgia and loss. Tributes bloomed on social media, from longtime admirers reminiscing about school dances to younger fans praising his underrated skill. Industry figures lauded how he seamlessly blended pop and country. While Elvis and the Beatles often overshadowed him, he carved out a space that was distinctly his. Commentators noted that he placed singles on multiple charts, an impressive feat. His sincere style offered a counterpoint to the more theatrical acts of his day. Young musicians who stumbled upon "It Keeps Right on a Hurtin'" marveled at how unguarded and direct it was. The same sincerity shone in songs that never became massive hits, but remained beloved by diehards. Friends suggested that this unpolished honesty was the key to his longevity. His influence on country music came under fresh scrutiny. He introduced many pop listeners to the aching vulnerability that typifies classic country, showing how one could marry a catchy melody with genuine storytelling. This approach foreshadowed the genre's broader crossover efforts in later decades. Modern artists recognized him as a precursor to the merging of pop hooks and twangy sentiment. Tributes poured in from fellow singers who recalled how gracious he had been on tour. Some credited him with inspiring them to ignore narrow categories and trust their own style. Even if big-time award shows overlooked his contributions, real fans and musicians knew his worth. He was, they said, the embodiment of a performer who survived numerous cultural shifts without losing his fundamental identity. His death also sparked discussion on how fleeting mainstream fame can be. He briefly rode the wave of early 1960s pop stardom, weathered the British invasion, and found pockets of renewed interest in the 1970s and 1980s. Though he never ignited another top-tier hit later on, he continued to tour, record occasionally, and witness new audiences stumble upon his catalog. That pattern exemplified his resilience, He didn't need repeated hits to validate his passion. Those who worked with him say his calm demeanor and readiness to help younger performers defined him. He never seemed resentful of chart toppers who soared higher, perhaps trusting that each musician's path was unique. Fans noted that he seldom participated in publicity stunts or dramatic feuds, another reason his reputation stayed intact. While some might find such a quiet career trajectory less exciting, it reflected a dedication to the artistry itself. When asked about his legacy, music historians assert that he broke down walls between country and pop without compromising authenticity. He showed that emotional, heartfelt ballads could thrive among more upbeat radio fare, and even though his name might not be as universally recognized, the songs he left behind hold a special glow for those who seek them out. In a sense, his legacy is an ongoing invitation to discover that sweet spot where storytelling meets a hummable tune. With his passing, country music lost a subtle yet significant figure. Younger fans, upon learning of his death, scoured streaming platforms for his songs, finding them as fresh and inviting as ever. Radio segments commemorated him, replaying his best-known hits while sprinkling in lesser-known gems. Listeners who once considered him a relic of another time realized how his quiet sincerity still resonated. Even if the production style sounded vintage, the core emotions remained relatable. His final years saw him performing occasionally, greeting longtime followers who wanted one last glimpse of the man whose music meant so much. Although the big crowds were gone, that did not stop him from giving heartfelt renditions of the songs that shaped his identity. It was a testament to the genuine devotion he felt for his craft. Fans, in turn, expressed gratitude for his enduring presence. Now that he is gone, the conversation shifts to how best to honor him. The simplest way might be to play Poetry in Motion once more and let its irresistible cheer wash over a room. Then follow that with the gentle ache of It Keeps Right on a Hurtin', recognizing that few artists can straddle genres so naturally. Such listening sessions reveal that his music forms a bridge between two worlds, country and pop, that some once insisted could not mix. He stands then as a gentle reminder that not all stars shine with explosive intensity. Some glow steadily over time, offering solace through decades of change. His approach, unassuming yet determined, brought forth songs that continue to find new listeners, even after he has departed. That perhaps is the strongest mark of a legacy, a steady influence that never demands attention, but quietly earns it. Looking back, those who pay close attention to music history will find in Johnny Tillotson an artist who adapted without sacrificing his core. He never courted scandal or dived headlong into fleeting fads. Instead, he let his voice and heartfelt lyrics speak across boundaries. Younger generations drawn to authentic sounds may yet uncover his work and realize how a blend of sweet melodies and honest words can outlast trends. For country music in particular, his name deserves respect as one who showed how a performer could slip into pop territory and still be welcome back home. That alone is a valuable example for aspiring artists wary of being typecast. Now that the final curtain has fallen, fans and historians alike are left to reflect on the quiet power of a career built on earnest expression rather than raucous spectacle. In the end, Johnny Tillotson's story underlines that music's true magic does not rely on hype or controversy, but on the simple act of connecting with listeners' emotions. He did exactly that, across eras and styles, never surrendering his gentle flair. When word of his recent passing spread, the outpouring of love spoke volumes. People understood they had lost a bridge between multiple genres, a steady presence who sang from the heart. His memory lives on whenever a record spins or a digital stream cues up that unmistakable voice, carrying a soft reminder that genuine talent can leave a permanent note in the grand songbook of American music. His father, Jack Tillotson, had been a guiding presence in local broadcasting circles, spinning country records and demonstrating the power of heartfelt storytelling. That environment shaped Johnny's earliest instincts long before he recorded his first single. He often reflected on how a simple country tune reminded him of home, even as he ventured into polished pop territory. Another point of fascination for fans was how he navigated the musical revolution of the 1960s. While many American acts scrambled to imitate the Beatles, Johnny stayed true to a gentler sound that merged country undertones with breezy pop elements. Though some insiders believed he could have charted higher by chasing rock trends, he found contentment in offering sincere ballads and uplifting melodies for audiences who appreciated his style. When health rumors circulated later in his life, many wondered if he was performing through pain or illness. He made no grand announcements, choosing to focus on the joy of singing whenever he appeared on stage. Close friends observed that he faced difficulties with quiet determination, never seeking pity or sensational headlines. Following his passing, tributes poured in not only from the United States but also abroad. The United Kingdom, where poetry in motion reigned supreme, mourned the loss of a voice that formed part of their cultural soundtrack. Younger British artists cited him as an example of how pure emotion can cross oceans and decades. Similar acknowledgments arose in Europe and Asia, where he had toured, earning respect for his warmth and consistency. Such international recognition underscores the reach of his music. He was never a mere footnote among larger-than-life figures, but stood out for the clarity of his voice and the kindness he displayed. In retrospect, listeners saw that he brought a real-world humility to every session he recorded, reflecting the small-town values that anchored his earliest experiences. After his death, special radio segments shone new light on lesser-known tracks that revealed broader shades of his repertoire, from country ballads to light-hearted pop tunes. People rediscovered the emotional core that consistently ran through his work, a gentle, storytelling approach that transcended strict genre boundaries. Listeners wrote heartfelt messages online, recalling how his music accompanied road trips, first dances, or late-night reflections. For aspiring crossover performers, he remains a valuable reference. He demonstrated that an artist can respect tradition while still connecting with a wider market. Rather than boast about bridging genres, he simply lived it, serving as a living link between Nashville's sincerity and pop's wide appeal. In essence, his career offers a timeless lesson in genuine artistry. He knew commercial tides would shift and that new waves of bands would emerge, yet he kept recording for those who treasured his style. That steadfastness, fueled by earnest emotion, carried him through the decades, culminating in tributes that honored his gentle soul and unwavering dedication to the craft. Even now, his music stands as a testament to how sincerity can outlast passing trends, leaving behind a legacy that resonates with anyone open to a heartfelt melody. In the wake of his passing, longtime fans also looked back on the countless small gestures that defined his connection to the public. From the early days when he signed autographs outside local radio stations to his later years shaking hands at nostalgia concerts, he consistently treated admirers like friends. Industry insiders remarked that his eagerness to preserve the emotional impact of a song set him apart. Though he never chased headlines, his warmth and unassuming style carved out a place in the hearts of those who encountered him. Younger musicians, observing his path, saw a model of how to endure in an unforgiving field, remain faithful to one's creative core, and respect the audience's intelligence. Indeed, that commitment to openness and clarity resonates in every track he recorded, from the breezy optimism of Poetry in Motion to the poignant ache of It Keeps Right on a Hurtin'. As the years unfold, people will continue to stumble upon his catalog, enthralled by the blend of authenticity and gentle charm that he championed. In this sense, his life story does not truly end with his passing. Each play of his music breathes life into his memory, reminding us that heartfelt melodies can transcend decades, bridging generational gaps and uniting music lovers in shared admiration. He will remain a cherished figure. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.